G'day guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are talking about the banded bench press, fantastic variant and also potentially a great way in order to blow past that plateau mark that you might be experiencing with your bench press. The beauty of this exercise is that it now adds load to the easiest part of the lift. So commonly, the easiest part to the bench press is the lockout phase, purely because of the fact that once you get past this point, you're pretty much home and hosed, right? Well, what the bands do is that as you are pressing up, because of the elasticity factor of the band, it is pulling down greater. So that load is increasing. So potentially, depending on your band resistance or your band's tension, you could be pressing up to 10 kilos heavier at the top portion of this lift, and at the bottom that 10 kilos might be resistant. So it starts to force you to press all the way through your lift rather than, say, getting past that sticking point and sort of just, you know, wiggling your way up. So really good science to back the use of bands and chains in order to get past that hump point that you might be experiencing, or that lull that you might be experiencing with your bench press. So by all means, give this one an absolute crack. Now there are a few points that we need to note when we are setting up our bands. What we need to understand is that the band needs to align to the highest point of your chest in order to make sure that your shoulders don't get too exposed. So obviously when we are coming down, if your anchor point isn't in line with the top of your chest, say it's pushed back towards your neck, you'll be coming down and that resistance will want to pull to that anchor point, so it'll start driving you into a poor position when it comes to shoulder health and just general travel of the bar. So we want to mimic the same travel pattern that we would use for all our bench press, all our bench presses. So yeah, make sure that the anchor point is in line with the highest point of your chest. Obviously you're going to need a strong anchor point. I've used dumbbells on this particular occasion for both sides. You can use, well, whatever's going to hold it down really. I would suggest not wrapping your band up and under, so you've got two leverage points, and the reason being is because it just becomes a little bit too, how you going for it all? And it's just easy with two, okay? Also, place the band on the inside of the barbell, not here where your weight is going to come up against it, purely because of the fact that it'll fray your band, and over time you won't have a band. So yeah, obviously with the chains you can potentially put them on the end, or most people do put them on the end, and they tend to come with a clip as well if you've got some good pair of chains. Alright, so how is it that we're going to go about setting up for this particular exercise? Well, we're going to set this up exactly how we would with any bench press. We'll go through our normal routines. Shoulder blades are going to be pinned back and down, our feet are going to be wedged underneath our backside, and we're going to be pushing down with our heels. For those who haven't watched my bench press tutorial, go ahead and watch that ASAP, because then it'll give you a really big in-depth reason as to why we do the things that we do. But for now, we'll just skim over that and show you what it's like to be under. The first point of call, start without any weight on the bar, because when you disc rack, because of the anchor points and where it's placed, it's going to want to go everywhere. Plus, if you haven't been exposed to the increased load at the top, you'll notice straight away that you won't be able to do the same amount of load as you normally do because of these bands. Okay, so what we want to make sure is that you have a really good grasp as to what's going on with the bands first. It's going to feel a bit shaky. Once you are primed and ready, then start adding load as you go. I actually find it becomes a little easier with a little bit more load on, just for stability, but that's just my personal experience with it all. Right. So let's set up for a bench press. We're going to slide in, we're going to place our feet underneath our backside, and we're going to have our bar setting up in line with our nipple line. Feet are going to plant. Now take your pinkies out to the slits of the bar, and then we're going to go into a bull grip. From here we're going to come up, slide down, shoulder blades pin back and down. Okay, from this position, I'm coming up. Now you can see that the band wants to go in its natural line, and we're going to line up
the anchor points with the tall part of my chest. From here, I'm going to pull the bar apart and come down, touch, press. And I've got to press all the way through because the resistance is very minimal here, but quite hard at the top there. And we're going to work in this pattern here, and you're going to find that your chest will come absolutely alive, especially at the top point where it's most easiest. Okay? And then rack it up as you normally would. I do suggest possibly for your first time that you have a spotter, purely because what you'll notice is that because the hardest point is at the top, if you do fail, the band is going to pull that bar down onto your chest, and it's going to be real hard to wiggle out of. So have a spotter, make sure you get used to the bands, probably keep 1 or 2 reps in the tank. If you don't have a spotter, and don't go to complete failure until you are really comfortable, or if you're fortunate enough that you have these safety guards here, set them up to the appropriate height and look after yourself whilst you are doing this exercise. Team, that there is how you want to go about doing your banded bench press.